I represent Anambra Central. I'm from Anambra State. Mr. President, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, NBRRI, to build capacity, conduct integrated applied research and development in roads, buildings, and engineering materials sector, and for related matters. Mr. President, let me, before I go into the bill, Mr. President, this is not a new bill. It is seeking for legal backing. It's an institution that has been in existence since 1977.
So you don't need the financial compendium? Is that what you are suggesting?
National Institute for Medical Research, Nigerian Stored Product Research Institute, and National Technology Development Center. Mr. President, this bill seeks to establish a legal framework for the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute to conduct applied integrated research and development on buildings, roads, engineering, construction, materials and methods, as well as socio-economic impacts of constructions and other environmental factors that affect building and road performances in Nigeria. Mr. President, recall that this bill was read for the first time in this hallowed chamber on Wednesday, 19 February 2020. It is instructive to draw your attention, Mr. President, to several cases of building collapse and failure of some infrastructural projects in the country in recent times. Most of these can be attributed to reasons such as use of substandard construction materials, poor architectural and geotechnical issues, among others. Mr. President, the objectives of this bill, among others, the bill, when enacted, will give the Institute legal impetus to confidently pursue its mandate towards addressing issues of infrastructural failures and decay in the country. In this time that global events have caused nations to look inwards for sourcing of their needs and survival, it is necessary now than ever before that Nigeria begins to work towards self-reliance in critical building materials. This can be achieved by incorporating local materials into building her infrastructures. This bill seeks to make NBRRI a key institution that will likely work towards achieving these set goals. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill recognizes the importance of collaboration among relevant project implementing agencies in monitoring, assessment, and effective utilization of research findings deployed by the Institute for the construction sector. Mr. President, the need for development of code of practice for locally produced and emerging materials for the construction sector, and the need to determine the most effective and economic methods of their utilization stand out as some of the merits of this bill. The functions of the bill, Mr. President, when enacted, will, among others, enable the Institute to build capacity by carrying out research on the following areas: the suitability of or otherwise of materials for buildings, roads, and other constructions; architectural design of buildings to suit Nigerian climate conditions with particular respect to lighting, ventilation, thermal comfort, and humidity; the design and performance of functional units in buildings, including electrical installations, plumbing, painting, and drainage ventilation systems; local construction and building operations, as well as methods to increase their effectiveness. Structural design of buildings and bridges, and the development of the design criteria, specifications, and codes of practices. Transportation schemes, including occurrence of accidents and safety measures. Geotechnical issues, including soil conditions and recommending appropriate solutions. And the system and processes for the conversion of raw materials or semi-finished materials into engineering materials of various shapes, gauges, forms, and performance. Mr. President, the Institute shall also encourage and promote the commercialization of research and development, as well as innovations in the construction sector. Promote the practice of research and development, and accordingly, it shall develop facilities and capabilities through its centers for research and development in building, in roads and engineering materials, chemical materials, scientific equipment, engineering manpower, training, etc. It will also collaborate with higher educational institutions in the country and other relevant government institutions, organizations, agencies, councils, and commercial industries in the research and development of building materials. It will also develop, run, and manage modern laboratories in Nigeria for research and development in the construction sector, provide consultancy and scientific services in areas relating to building, road, and engineering materials in construction sector, establish an academy in collaboration with other relevant bodies, develop curricula for manpower development for the construction sector. Finally, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, this bill, when passed, will provide a resource base and a reference center for effective control and research in the construction industry in Nigeria. It will address the issues of frequent building and construction collapse in this country. The bill, when passed, will also not attract extra financial burden on the treasury of federal government, as the institute has been in existence since 1977, as most of my colleagues here, of course, can testify. I therefore, Mr. President, crave your indulgence and the support of my colleagues to support this bill to go for second reading, knowing fully well that it's not attracting extra ₦1 in establishing it. This institution, this agency, has been in existence since 1977 and is one of the most performing agencies in this country. It has the best human capital, it has the best office, it has the best professionals, and the best engineers to handle some of the issues enumerated in this bill. Mr. President, with your kind permission, I move that this is taken for second.
Presenting Akwa Ibom Northwest Central District in Akwa Ibom State. Mr. President, I rise to second and support this beautiful bill brought by Senator Linia Okunife on the need to have a bill and an act to regulate and sustain the existence of the NBRRI, what we call Nigerian Road Building Research Institute. Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, while I raised my hand to speak after she had spoken, Mr. President, I happen to be opportune to be the chairman of this body, courtesy of the late President Yaradua in 2009. And I tried to see how this body could work in consonance with the provision of the decree that set up this body in 1977. It was not easy because we did not have a framework, a well-defined legal framework that sets standards, sets vision for the body. So it is gratifying that one of us here have seen the need and brought about this bill. So, Mr. President and distinguished colleagues, I wouldn't think this is a bill that will take us much time to debate about or upon, because the body is already in existence. It has zonal offices in all the zones, the 6 geopolitical zones of the nation. I can name them because it was during my tenure as a chairman of this body that we set up those offices in each of the zones, and they are doing well. So all we need is a standard. So she has defined the procedure, and I want to crave the indulgence of Mr. President and other members of this House chamber to consider this bill for a second reading. Thank you, Mr. President.
Vote of order is a constitutional matter, and I want to cite Section 315 of the Constitution, as well as the second schedule. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, Section 315 read, subject to the provision of this Constitution, an existing law shall have effect with such modification as may be necessary to bring it into conformity with the provision of this Constitution, and shall be deemed to be an act of National Assembly, that's Option A, to the extent that it is a law with respect to any matter on which the National Assembly is empowered by this Constitution to make laws. Mr. President, based on the submission of the lead debater for this bill, there's an existing law for this agency. It's my submission that rather than we establishing, the appropriate bill will be to amend the existing law. The second point of my submission, Mr. President, is that the subject matter of this law, yes, it was made during military regime when we have a semi-unitary thing, have some matters that are concurrent with the State House of Assembly, because the issue of building and other issues that it raised, the state also do have power to legislate on it. So my two things is that the bill should be to amend the existing law, not to establish, because it's already an established institution. The second one is that in terms of what will be legislated upon, it should take cognizance of the power of the state on that subject matter. I so submit, Mr. President.
Started from when I started leading the debate, that this is not a new agency. It is Decree 1977 established this particular agency. It's been in existence. So I don't see how I will go into amending the decree, because it was not act of the parliament that established the.
No. Any decree from 1999 has become an act of parliament.
Decree 1977 to reenact another one. When we get to the public hearing, during the consideration, all those amendments can come up, Mr. President. But I want to seek your indulgence to permit this to go. All the technical issues will be handled at the committee level, Mr. President. I so submit. Please said, so many agencies have overlapping functions, one way or the other.
No, I think the issue, if you are coming up with a new one, new bill entirely, new law, then we need to repeal that act that we refer to as military. It's no more military, it's now considered as an act of the National Assembly.
That's the amendment of. So we'll give you the legal framework when we get to the committee level, sir.
Any more? Because what I feel we should have done is right at the beginning to repeal and reenact. But the way it is like there is no.
What I'm saying, Mr. President, I listened to what you said. And
that the bill that Senator Uche Kunife has just presented should now read as a repeal and reenactment of an act to establish the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute, to to build capacity and conduct integrated applied research and development in roads, building, and engineering materials sector, and for other related matters. I so move.
Our lawyers, I think we can pass the bill for second reading, and then when it goes to, okay, those in favor, is there anybody against the bill? Those in favor that this bill be now read a second time, say aye. Those against, say nay. Ayes have it. Clerk of the Senate. Distinguished colleagues, a bill for an act to establish the Nigerian Building and Road Research Institute to build capacity, conduct integrated applied research and development in roads, buildings, and engineering materials sectors, and for related matters, 2020 second reading taken, and the bill is referred to the Committee on Science and Technology to report back within 4 weeks. Leader of the Senate.